fancy shirt? Who's the man with a cheeky smirk? Who has the answers? Who can explain? Well, it's Enzo the science guy. Enzo the science guy. Ask him how, ask him why. Enzo the science guy. He's Enzo the science guy.
Ta-da! Hey everybody, hello. So Enzo has got stuff to talk about, but before we get talking, I want you to send out some good wishes to Maisie Rose. If you've noticed we haven't seen her in the chats, I mean, needless to say that hours are generally terrible for the UK to join in, but she was in my premiere episode yesterday about Virginia City, and she was in the chat, and she's not very well. And she's currently in hospital, so send out some happy thoughts to Maisie Rose, and I'll email her again and let her know she should check to see that everybody's wishing her well. Yes, Tanya, yeah, I hadn't, and I thought, oh, that's unusual, but I've been offline for a long time, so well, whatever. But no, she's unwell, so we can't have that. Hi, Kathy. Who's here today? I saw Carla. Carla, if you didn't see, just check your if you haven't already. No, check your messenger, Carla. Raven, hello, and Laura, hello. And Laura said the other day on her show the same thing I say all the time. We need one of those romper room mirrors.
Yeah, never said my name. I hated that.
She never said Karen either. So I guess we weren't welcome. Hey Drew, hello, gorgeous boy. Drew has had his birthday the other day. He's the big 40 now. You wouldn't know to look at him. Ooh. Though. Drew doesn't look 40, but he had a big birthday party. I would have been there, but I don't live anywhere near Adelaide, so a bit hard. Hi Cheryl. Yes, and Mr. Eye Candy's here too. There he is. So what do you have to talk about today, Enzo? What are the subjects?
We got a few things. I figured we could start off a little light with a little Hollywood news to start off with. If you want to bring up my share down below.
Yeah. What's Spielberg up to?
There's been rumors about Steven Spielberg's newest project that he's been working on. All we really knew before was it was something UFO based, which goes back to classic Spielberg, Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., Taken, things like that. But we had a little update yesterday. Originally, the project, the film, was had a temporary kind of like a fill-in listing called The Dish was the name of the film. But now they've come out with what the actual name is going to be called, Disclosure.
Oh, but will we get it?
No. Honestly, some of the stuff Spielberg has put out in the past, it kind of matches a lot of the stories that we have heard over the years. So he certainly has been talking to some insiders.
Spielberg did Close Encounters. That was him, wasn't it? Or was that?
Yep, he did Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where there are many characters in that film that are real people in ufology. The primary character was a French scientist. That's obviously Jacques Vallée, who's been deep into ufology lore going back into the 70s. And there even were a few like background scene characters, like at the end when the big ship comes down, all the scientists and people are all billing about, all excited. Like in the background are actual, ufology lore characters. You see them in the background.
Yeah, so, well, I've seen. Oh, sorry, go. Yep.
Oh no, it's fine. We're
no. I was just saying I've seen Jacques on with Joe Rogan one night, and a while back.
Amazing guy. Yeah.
But he's and he actually said that he has seen and held in his own hand a piece of that metal they talked about, but I can't remember where he said the metal was from. It could have been the Roswell thing. He was talking about that. Nearly he blew Joe's mind. But yeah, I love watching people like that talk about stuff when they've got evidence,
Right.
So we'll see. Yeah.
Jacques Vallée's been around for a long, long time, and he never ceases to be kind of amazing. Some people are like, well, I don't know. Honestly, it's a lot of the stuff that he talks about is so far above. I heard there was a person saw something. No. He's way up here with his thinking about how ufology and all that stuff is. It's a little gooey for some people, but to be honest, I feel in the end, if we're talking about, even at its most base, a civilization from another star system that's visiting us, it's going to be way crazier than we can imagine, really. It's going to be super weird. And that's we're going to have to get outside. We have our tiny little box that we live in, and that's all we know. There's a whole universe out there that it's going to be difficult for some people to get a hold of. And Jacques Vallée seems to be able to at least be accepting of some of those ideas. But anyway.
Thank you, Cheryl. I appreciate it. I really do. Thank you, sweetheart. Cheryl's been with me for 9 months. It's like a pregnancy.
Cheryl's great.
The rebirth of my channel in 9 months.
Yeah. But back to the story, Steven Spielberg, the shooting on the movie Disclosure, as we're now going to call it, is set to begin in New Jersey on February 28th, so the end of the month. The cast is composed of Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Colin Firth, Eve Hewson, Coleman Domingo, and Wyatt Russell. Janis Kaminski is the director of photography on it, which has done a lot of other work in Hollywood. No word yet on if Spielberg is going to have John Williams back for those famous composing scores. No plot details at this time, but the story, which is written by David Koepp, is said to be a two-hander with a UFO storyline. And if you're anything like me, you're like, what the hell does a two-hander mean? Well, as it turns out,
I won't let my mind go in another direction, but yeah, all right.
Going on a ski pole adventure. Yes. As it turns out in Hollywood, at least. Well, I'm sure in Hollywood it may mean something else as well. But in Hollywood vernacular, in showbiz vernacular, a two-hander is a term for a play, film, or television program with only two main characters. The two characters in question often display differences in social standing or experiences, differences that are explored and possibly overcome as the story unfolds. The classical example of this would be The X-Files, where you've got one FBI agent, true believer that believes everything, and Dana Scully, the hard doctor scientist that needs physical evidence of all that stuff, and how they incorporate their storyline together of a little bit of UFO faith to hard science facts.
Yeah. It'll probably be someone's been abducted by aliens and it's true, I really was. And then someone will be like, oh, there's no scientific proof. And then maybe because it's called Disclosure, something will come out. I could write a movie plot.
It is. Well, we're seeing it come out all the time, every day in the news and stuff like that over the last couple of years with congressional hearings and whistleblowers saying all kinds of things. This is, to be fair, some of Spielberg's latest works weren't that great. But if we goes back to his roots, classical stuff, I think this could be great. See you later, Drew.
Bye, Drew. Have fun with your fella from overseas. Ciao. All right. And I just wanted to shout out to horrors of horrors. Thank you for being a member. Thanks, gorgeous. And yes, next week's fine. There you go. Yeah, well, it's interesting. I like it when they make movies like that. I know that I can see there next to it too. You've got Mel Gibson, The Resurrection of Christ. So that starts shooting in March. I saw him on Joe Rogan as well, talking about that. And they're going to use the actor. I've gone blank. Him. Not him. Hang on. They're going to use the actor Jim I don't know how you say Caviezel. Is that how you say? He played Jesus in the last one.
Yep.
They're going to use him again, but because he's older now, and that was a question like, he's a lot older now, and he does look older than he looked when he made that, but not bad. He's aged really well. But Mel said, well, thank goodness for technology. So obviously they're going to keep that part continuity as well. But yeah, I still can't understand why when he put that movie out, I don't want to get into a religious thing, but they called Mel Gibson, or they said the movie was anti-Semitic, and I thought, it's about Jesus who's a Jew. Like, how is it? But I think it's because the movie shows that it was actually the Jewish how it come to be that he was crucified. So
right, that's the story, though. That's how it worked out. You know,
that's how it worked out. They didn't like him. He was getting too popular. They had to make it.
Honest, the Romans were the bad guys in any kind of story like that. So.
Yeah, but you know what? I read up on that, and it wasn't the Romans that were the bad guys. Really, it was the Jewish priests and stuff who went to the Romans and said, we want him done in with. And I can't remember the names. And they said, look, how about we just give him a few lashings and. And then let him go on his way. They didn't want to kill him because he was popular, but they didn't want to kill him. But then it went to the Emperor of Rome, and he said, no, just give him a couple, whip him to near death or whatever, and then let him go. We don't want to do it. But there was some kind of threat, and I can't remember now. Someone might know. There was some kind of threat back, and then they went, oh, all right, do it. And they did it. So it's an intricate story. I must watch that movie, I suppose. I saw it when it came out. I watched bits of it, but I thought, I think he's stuck pretty well, from what I could understand when Mel was talking about it, he's stuck fairly well to it's historical. I even like how he went to the trouble of getting him to learn how to speak the language. That was mental. That would have been really hard.
Yeah, that's for me. When it comes to like speaking foreign languages, especially ancient dead languages like that, I'd be like, you're going to have to do some AI trickery here. I can't do that.
I struggle speaking English sometimes, and that's my language. Oh dear. And but that's interesting. Any other Hollywood stories? I don't want to get into that horrible gossip of the Blake.
Oh, sure.
Well, I do kind of. I have been watching the Blake Lively thing. That's Jesus Christ. Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, and Justin Bo. I can't say Bo. I've forgotten. A boy called Justin, a young man called Justin. I'm like, holy crap! It's a real shit show. It's just like, I must admit,
it usually is when it comes to Hollywood.
Yeah, it'll sort itself out. But what's going on here? Paul, what's he up to?
Turns out Paul Giamatti has been picked to play the iconic radio host Art Bell in a new indie movie biodoc kind of thing on Art Bell.
Wow!
So, if you're familiar. A lot of people above a certain age in the 90s and early 2000s couldn't sleep at night. There was always Art Bell to tune into late at night and listen to all of the shenanigans going on there, which is, I feel, the foundation for a lot of the things that we see in common use today, whether it's ghosts or demonology or UFOs or cryptids. He talked about all of it. He would always have on a guest to have their say and their take on whatever the woo was, and he would always give him the platform. He would Paul Giamatti. If you pull up Paul Giamatti's IMDb, he's probably been in a film or movie or show.
He's very. He has. I'm trying to think. I like it. Any movie with him in, I generally enjoy. He's been in tons, but yeah, have a look, Tanya. Have a look.
He's very good. So having him as the unflappable Art Bell, because listening to Art Bell, he would certainly let people have their say, even if it went way off the rails. he was such a master showman and excellent speaker for his radio show. He could kind of, navigate those troubled waters if somebody said something really outrageous or whatever. And he certainly would turn it around. He wouldn't let people just say whatever they want. He would certainly challenge them on certain things. And if they were reasonable about it, they'd probably be back. God, he had one guy, Major Ed Dames, who was a remote viewer who was always making these wild predictions that were usually wrong. But he would still have one, and he would point out, it's like, you said they'd find this crashed plane in this area. They haven't found anything yet. It's like, well, it may not be exactly that area. It's like, Ed Dames was always kind of like the remote viewing punching bag. He would make a lot of outlandish claims with, never would pan out. So,
Now,
but it was kind of funny.
Did Art Bell actually die, or was he abducted in the end?
Yeah, Art Bell was never in the best of health. Almost any picture you see of Art Bell, he's got one of those cigarettes in his hand. And he went through a lot of troubles himself in his personal life, which I'm sure they'll probably get into in this, because his wife passed away. He had a hard crash, and then remarried, moved to the Philippines and lived there for a while, came back to the United States, rebooted. He retired from his radio show, I think, like 3 or 4 different times, but he always came back for a short period of time. And the last one, he was actually on Sirius XM satellite radio for a while rather than regular terrestrial radio, and that didn't even last a full year because, according to to the story, that there were people sneaking around armed on his compound that were threatening to kill him and all kinds of stuff. He went dark for a short period of time after that, and then he passed away. So it's he certainly had some health issues going into it. So that's not a giant surprise. But of course, all the stuff that he talked about, there's always something in the back of your head. It's like, did the Men in Black finally catch up with Art Bell? Did the CIA have something to do with it? Were there shadow people involved? Who knows? Art Bell was just an amazing character for that involves all of the supernatural and cryptid, all your cryptids, your ghosts, your UFO stories. That's where you went pre-internet for all your info, was whatever Art Bell was talking about.
And to anyone watching, if I freeze up or drop out or whatever, just let me know and be patient. My internet is crap lately. I don't know what's going on. Elon, he needs to move his satellite over my house.
As it turns out, there may be something to that. Because our next story, Elon Musk's Starlinks are crashing. 120 satellites fell from space just in January alone.
Who's doing that? It sounds like sabotage to me.
Nope, it is by design. All of the satellites that are deorbiting, which there have been plenty of sightings across the world the last several months of, the streaking stuff breaking up into the sky. It's by design. These are all like the first generation satellites. And they're upgrading all the stuff they're putting up. I think they're up to a Gen 3 or a Gen 4 now that they're launching every day. Those new Gen 3s and 4s, those are going to be the ones that have the technology where you can use your regular cell phone without any kind of satellite link up or anything like that. Basically, each satellite is like a cell phone tower. So you'll be able to, like right now, they are working with, I think it's T-Mobile here in the U.S., where you can sign up for their program where you can just send texts, but you can send texts from anywhere on the planet. It doesn't matter if you're out in the middle of nowhere where there's no cell phones. If you're out in the middle of the ocean, you can still send texts, mostly because it doesn't have the bandwidth. As they retire some of these older satellites, so they clutter up space. Because they're intentionally deorbiting, which basically means they're letting them burn up in the atmosphere. And so they're not cluttering up space because junk up in orbit is a problem. So they're just letting them burn up. And they're not very big compared to a lot of satellites, so it's kind of okay. But as this story goes into, each Gen 1 Starlink satellite produces about 30 kilograms of aluminum oxide that is now floating in the upper atmosphere, which can deteriorate the ozone layer. But I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure everything's going to be just great. But to be honest, that's actually not very much in the grand scheme of things. And so it's certainly something that if you do see, and this is something that's going to be going on throughout this year, where as they're putting newer high-tech satellites, the older original versions that they don't, kind of don't perform as well anyway, they're going to deorbit those, where they're going to burn them up. They try and deorbit most satellites over an area in the South Indian Ocean called, they call it Point Nemo, where if you're like in the middle of that, where Point Nemo actually is, the closest human being to you, if you're in a ship at that one point, would be whenever the International Space Station goes overhead, would be like the closest person to you. There is nothing out there. So yeah, it's referred to also as like the satellite graveyard, because there's nothing out there. There's no islands, there's no like reefs or anything. It's just wide open ocean with nothing to stop it. So they try and deorbit most things, especially if they think that not all of it is going to burn up in the atmosphere. They try and put it out in that area out over the southern Indian Ocean.
Well, it's a good thing that Elon's invented these ones, though, to basically, I'm too old now, I'm going back to Earth, and burn up in the atmosphere. So there's probably not even any junk falls down, because they're smaller than the other.
Like I said, 30 kilograms of aluminum oxide is kind of it.
Yeah, it's not much. So nobody's going to have one fall through their roof or anything like that. So that's
no, because there's certainly been some videos over the last few months, because they've started this back in December of kind of deorbiting a lot of these older satellites. Oh, there you go. Point.
Oh, there are Tanya's. I tell you, she's on it. Tanya's put up a thing. When are you coming back to Australia for a holiday, Tanya? We need to go whale watching again. Ooh. That was fun. So what else then? Anything else?
Well, if you're really worried about things falling out of the sky, the U.S. Navy has a plan. They released a couple of days ago this photo from a Helios laser test, which this is straight up Star Wars stuff. Yeah, it looks kind of odd. I'll admit, now this is the picture that they released. Black and white, grayscale image. That to me reads, this was probably done at night. And even so, this is like a night vision type shot. It's in grayscale versus, green, like you see on TV.
Oh,
but
okay. So you could skip.
Yeah, it's even possible that this laser may not even be visible to the naked eye, but we don't know that, because we don't know much more beyond just this picture. So you could have your phasers set for fun, and on whatever the recipient is, may not even know it's happening until they're disintegrating. Whatever it is they're in is disintegrating. But anyways, this is a test where they tested against a drone at a distance. I didn't really get into it. This is the high energy laser with integrated optical dazzler and surveillance vehicle. That's just what Helios stands for.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, they don't talk a lot much more about it. This is the Arleigh Burke style destroyer, the USS Preble, which they did their shooting in the northwestish Pacific area. They weren't particular in it about where it was at, but they've conducted about 32 different tests last year with this, and this is the one where they actually had a drone up as a target, and it did shoot it down. So there you go. We've hit Star Trek level of laser weaponry. It seems.
It's funny. I was just going back to the Steven Spielberg thing. I thought about the drones in New Jersey, and then you said they're going to film the movie. I thought, oh, maybe they've already actually filmed some shots. Maybe that's all it was. All that long ago. You never know.
They start filming at the end of this month, so they may incorporate that in. You never can tell.
They might.
My guess on
yep.
the Spielberg film. I can bring it back up. Yeah. My guess on the Spielberg film is it's probably going to be, especially since they've released Disclosure, and this is just me guessing, I don't know anything, with the title of Disclosure, probably, there's going to be the UFO true believer that has all these factoids from the internet, and probably like maybe a government, maybe even like a civilian government contractor that knows some stuff is real, and they kind of meet, and there's some reason why they need to work together to bring it out so that everybody knows about it. Because when it comes to disclosure, capital D disclosure, the biggest part of that they could do right now is to just say, hey, look, we know there's alien life out here because they've been here. They crashed back in 1947. We found these bodies in this thing. There's pieces and parts that we still haven't figured out yet. And that's fine, because that's the part that they're hiding. They don't care about alien civilizations and we are not alone in the universe. None of that is a concern to the federal government. It's the tech that they're protecting, because it's basically for people that they view people like me that say, hey, just at least tell us that there's aliens out there. No, because that would reveal that they've got super high tech stuff, which would then lead to, the way that they look at it is, it's people anyone who's asking for disclosure is like, we demand you give us the technical schematics for the nuclear weapon. We deserve to know, is how they kind of go look at it.
Oh, your husband, tell him to cook for himself. See you, Laura. I was going to say, hey, sandwich. I know, yeah, can't he make himself a sandwich? These men folk, I tell you what. I was going to say something.
In defense of men, all sandwiches and coffee always taste better if someone else makes it.
Oh, they do, I must admit. Yeah. I always like it when someone does something for me, because I'm always the one cooking things. So, and I don't know what it is. Generally, when you cook for yourself, it doesn't taste as good as if someone else does it and serves it up. I don't know why that is, but there you go. I was going to say that in the cast there it said Wyatt Russell. That's my favourite actor, Kurt Russell's son. He looks a lot like Kurt. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
I like Kurt Russell. Maybe Kurt could be in the movie then. He could play his father. Since he is. Well, good, because Kurt Russell, as you know, Enzo, the Philadelphia Lights, wasn't it? Philadelphia Lights? Is that what they were called?
Phoenix Lights.
Phoenix Lights.
Yeah,
Phoenix Lights. He was when they speak about a pilot who reported it, he was the pilot. He saw it, and I've seen him interviewed a few times, and he goes, it was nothing he'd ever seen before, and he's a pilot. So I trust Russell. I like Russell. I'd marry Russell.
I've seen him from a distance across a restaurant, and seems like a very nice guy.
Well, you said he was. Who was he with? He was with someone, wasn't he? You said he was with someone.
Well, a group of friends of mine, a few years. This was probably about 6 or 7 years ago. We would go out every Friday night to different restaurants around the Wichita, Kansas area. Wichita is known, I guess, for we have a lot of aircraft manufacturing plants around the city. We've got Boeing and Lockheed, Cessna, and all that stuff. So a lot of people come in from all over the world, really, to Wichita to get their planes upgraded with like new avionics, radios, and things like that. Whenever they come out with something new. So we see some personalities here in Wichita sometimes that are aviation buffs. I've seen Harrison Ford a couple of times dotting around the town because he's a big aviation buff now.
He's aviation as well.
Does a little more crashing than actual landing as of late, but that's okay. He's an older gentleman. We will let that slide. But I was at a restaurant. We went in, and like half of the restaurant was cordoned off from everyone else, and all the wait staff were all hovering around this one table in the corner, and all the other tables were empty. It's like, what's going on? We go to our seats, and we're like, everybody in the restaurant's trying to like peek around. It's like, what's going on over in the corner? And one of my friends all of my friends immediately recognized Harrison Ford over there. And it was exactly as you can imagine. Harrison Ford was just kind of the grumpy old man, like, yeah, I'm just trying to eat my food. Leave me alone. Yeah, no, I'm not going to sign anything. Whatever. However, there was someone that was with him right next to him on the table that was very bright-eyed, full of life, posing with selfies with the wait staff and signing things and all that. And it was Kurt Russell. So Kurt Russell, he has a couple of his own planes, and him and Harrison Ford are good friends so they're both aviation nerds. And they had flown in to Wichita to get some upgrades on one of their planes. I don't recall exactly which one flew in and which one didn't, but very nice seeming guy. After a while, I was like, hey, my food's getting cold. I just want to eat my meal. And love you guys. Very warm, very welcoming kind of guy. You can tell that from being across the room.
Yeah, he's been around for a long time, so and he's never seemed to have upset anyone. Neither is Goldie. Goldie's old school, I think. But yeah, I just think I adore Russell very much because, well, mainly because he's Kurt, just because he always seems that way. He always seems friendly, and I like him. Yeah, Tanya said to me before, who would I prefer, Keanu or Kurt Russell? And I said Kurt Russell, and she's like, oh, and like, oh, Keanu's lovely and everything, but no, I've always loved Kurt Russell. Plus, he's closer to my age, so doesn't seem as bad. Then she asked me Elon or Keanu, and I said, well, I'd be no good to Elon because he likes to make babies. I've finished making babies, so I'd have to pick Keanu. It'd be a hard choice though, because Elon, I could probably just sit and listen to him talk about all sorts of stuff for hours. Do you know what I mean? I like to be able to have a good conversation with someone. Just a pretty face isn't enough for me anymore, I'm afraid, Tanya. It's a bonus, I suppose, but yeah, I prefer good conversation. I think a pretty face is more when you're younger and, whatever. I don't know, when you don't really think straight. When the hormones are raging. When the hormones are raging, and it's like all about that. And then as you get older, it's like, yeah, my hormones don't rage so much anymore, and I prefer a really good conversation. It's better. Oh dear. But yeah, there you go. Yeah. Not much. What else has been happening really in the paranormal world? Oh, you know what I wanted to tell people, because you were watching one day when I put up when I went to England and I did the Jack the Ripper walk thing. Right. And the fellow who took me on the walk was the fellow who's been on the news a lot lately with the naming Jack the Ripper and through the DNA evidence, etc. And I was very excited. He's a lovely man, nice man. I'm very excited for him, but I was under the impression that because when he first came out with this, there was the DNA evidence. There was a lot of hoopla about it. Oh, no, they've used the wrong coding, the wrong numbers, it's too old, whatever. But when he was talking to us, it sounded to me like he was saying he had it done again. He spent a fortune and had it done again. And it's been proven to be as it is. That's not what happened. So it's still the first results that he got. And I thought anyone in the chat that knows about DNA, and Enzo probably knows how DNA works too. This is if I freeze up, let me know. My internet's gone blop blop again. The scarf
another satellite
that
crash
was supposedly found with her body. There's so many holes. Oh no! Let me know when I'm back. Am I back?
You're good. You're good.
I'm not. I'm good now. Yeah. So a lot of the stuff around the time when the scarf was found, supposedly with the last with her body, a policeman took it. He didn't put it in as evidence. He just took it and apparently took it home and gave it to his wife, who then put it in a cupboard somewhere. And I'm thinking back to what it was like in those days. I can't imagine why he would take it home, give it to it, why he would even take it home. It was supposedly a silk scarf. Maybe he thought I'd give it to the missus, but it would have been covered
in a dead body. Yeah, would you want that as the wife there?
I don't know. But let's assume for a minute it was from a dead body, and he did take it home. Any self-respecting woman of the day would have washed it. Like, it would have been washed. You wouldn't put a soiled, bloody thing away in a cupboard. So there's a few things in that as a just a common sense sort of thing to say, like, why? Because back in those days, there was no, like we do now, like me with my little collections of things. I don't think people did that, all that. But like, why would you keep that? Like, why not just hand it in because it was with the body? But also, yeah, it was only the one DNA test, which he spent a fortune to get, given that. But DNA breaks down over time, not to mention the amount of people. I've seen him in photographs of people handling it. But so the amount of people in the years since that murder that probably held it, showed it to people, if indeed it's even what is said, even if it's really, like, I don't know. And he says the DNA matched one of the lost relatives, and I'm like, oh. But then that's where I remember at the time they said no, it didn't. He made a mistake in his the way he did the DNA. So I've come to the conclusion after going all of that over that again, I don't think it's correct. That's just my opinion. All right, it's just my opinion. But I would be worried I'd be haunted. No, but yeah, so I don't think we know who Jack the Ripper is. It was a really great, like, it's a great book. It's a great read. I can't say it's not right, but something just doesn't sit with me properly because of how DNA, even nowadays, DNA from probably the mid-50s or something, it degrades. And it wouldn't, it's not like it was being kept in a controlled area.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in someone's cupboard and someone's pulled it out and looked at it, or someone's, whatever. And then it went to
after a while. Why would you do that?
Oh yeah, I don't know. So something just doesn't really make sense. But there you go. I'm just checking the chat that I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I've got things in my room, as you know, Tanya. I've told you about my collection. You can't see it. I've got it on the wall, but I've got the police tape from the, from the crime scene with what's his name, O.J. Simpson. I've got piece of
that.
Didn't know that. It's on my wall.
That's funny. Yeah, how did you come up on that?
I've got a friend called Scott Michaels, and he did live in LA. He's in Palm Springs now, and he had a museum called Dearly Departed, and he also did tours around whatever. Now, he's lived in LA for a long time. He was living there when all that happened. But when things happen, he's got connections and he goes to places where they've happened, and he'll take souvenirs. So he went when they were dismantling, for example, the house where Sharon Tate and the Manson murders, where that took place. He went there and he spoke to the guy that was pulling down the house. They didn't pull down the whole house, something about rules in LA and all that. They still kept a portion of the house, a wall, I think. But they pulled down the fireplace. So the fireplace is where they were all murdered in front of, right? So he put, not all of them, one was, But so he asked the builder, can I take a couple of bricks from the fireplace? Yep, over there. That's them there. So I've got a little piece of the brick from the fireplace. And then the OJ murder thing, it was the same thing because he was doing his tours at the time. He went past after the police had done whatever they had to do, and the police tape was still up, so he took some. and I've got some. There's no blood on it or anything. It's just police. Wow. It's just kind of. He takes all sorts of. Scott, you should go and check out his channel. It's called Dearly Departed. What he doesn't know about the dark side of Hollywood, I don't think anyone knows. But what else did he get me? A piece of the tree that Paul Walker crashed into and caught on fire. I've got a bit of that.
Oh, jeez. Wow.
Yeah. And I've got a piece of the Hindenburg. I can't remember how he got his. Yeah, I've got a piece of the Hindenburg. What else have I got? Oh, well, I've got a little. Oh, well, I've got a piece of the Titanic, a piece of the furniture that was on the Titanic. I've got Elvis Presley's one little hair, a centimetre long.
Is it a piece of door that two people could easily put on?
Yeah, I reckon it was. Yeah, they did that wrong. They would have been better to do that, like just put it where someone pulled her in out the water, like maybe they were holding on to each other, and because that just made everybody. That anyway. What are we? Tanya. Well, in case someone can't read. Oh. But yeah, so I and the reason I collect those things is because it gives me. I'm fascinated by some of these stories, and probably the same reason that some people ask a celebrity for an autograph. Why do you want an autograph from a celebrity? Because I guess you want some kind of attachment in some way to that celebrity, and an autograph is a way of having it. I don't know. For me, it was just I've always been fascinated in a lot of things, but some stories hit me more than others. And he's got the next thing I want to get off of him. Do you remember the actress, Karen? The actress who passed away in the car accident? They ran into the back of the truck. Her daughter's in Law and Order. Karen. Blonde, big boobs, like around the same time as Marilyn Monroe. Jane Mansfield.
Yes.
Thank you, Tanya. Yeah, that's Scott. That's his YouTube channel. When I was in America, he took me out for the day, and we went all sorts of places. He took me to where Marilyn Monroe is buried, and so on and so forth. Took me for a drive up to Cielo Drive. That was pretty cool. I can't remember what I was saying now. Oh, Jane Mansfield. Yeah, he's got the car. He owns the car that she died in. It's in storage now. Yeah, it's all of the stuff is in storage now because his museum, when everything went crazy with COVID, he had to close down his museum, and they didn't like living in LA anymore because it was getting too violent and crazy. Like the police didn't. It was anyway, long story, but they've moved to Palm Springs now. So he's looking at some point when he's got enough money to do it, opening up his museum. He's got tons and tons. When I say tons of stuff. But yeah, he's got
pretty nice too.
What was that?
Palm Springs is pretty nice too. That's right next to where the big UFO conference that I go to occasionally. Won't be going this year. But it's right next to that. So it's a very nice place, even though it's out in the desert.
Yeah. So that's where I get all of my stuff. I just say, what have you got? Because for a little while there, he was selling some of it off, like not all of it, keeping some, but selling some off. So people were buying it as well. But you can buy stuff from him if you're interested in that sort of thing. But I don't know. But I like collecting stuff like that. So there you go. My little attachment to a historical event. Now all I need really is one of the bullets from JFK's assassination.
Ooh.
I wonder. That'd be a bit creepy though, wouldn't it? Because that went through him. One of the ones that missed. Yeah. One of the ones that missed. I wonder if we find out about that. That'll be interesting, won't it?
Maybe. So many actually, like from the original paperwork that was presented by Trump and all that, they should have decided by now maybe next
what
week.
they're doing with it.
I'd have to look at it. As far as this is the stuff that we can release and how
There
how
might
to
look.
release.
I think. Hi, Stormy. I think the important thing is, in my opinion, the great thing is he is giving the records about RFK's dad to him. So despite
Yes.
whether or not anybody else, I mean, as you've seen by the events of the last few weeks in America with how much underhanded, disgusting stuff's been going on behind everybody's back with those agencies, no one's going to be shocked. It's not going to create a big thing if they come out and go, oh yeah, it was the president at LBJ organised it and the CIA got in these people and such happened. No one is going to go, oh my God. We're just going to go, of course he did. Do you know what I mean? It's gotten to that point.
That idea has been around for a long time. I mean, since like the next day after the actual assassination. So that's not in the public psyche. It's not something that is going to be that shocking or surprising.
I mean,
but to have actual evidence to say, look, here it is, black and white, the CIA and or what, whatever the machinations of it are, because there's so many different theories about it. To actually see it in print where you can definitively say, okay, this was
how it happened, and this is why.
The mob, the CIA, a lone gunman, whatever it is, whatever it reveals, it'll be the end of it. As far as it's because JFK was going to, it all depends on what your perspective is. Like, I'm a UFO nerd, so in my circles, it's like JFK was going to release all the stuff about the Greys and how they've talked with all of our people and deals that they've done with different governments. All right. Because you have to say the same level of, okay, I get it. As far as the mob and Cuba and the CIA and LBJ's own personal stuff, whatever it is, we'll at least have a definitive, this is what it is. All the rest of it you can shove off to the side, and we'll finally know. That's the big thing. The mystery of it.
I would really love to know. I watched some old footage again the other day of Oswald being let out and saying, it wasn't me. I'm the patsy. And when you think about that, people go, oh, well, of course he's going to say that because whatever. He was found in the building, right? But from all other reports of different other people that have said that they were responsible, yes, he was involved, but no, he was not the one who shot him. He certainly knew about it, but and that makes sense then when he yelled out, it wasn't me, I didn't shoot him, I'm just the patsy. And then, of course, he dies, the next day or the day after, because Ruby goes and shoots him. And then, Ruby's dead. Like, hello, knock, knock. And then it makes sense why the other lady was, I think, murdered, that I spoke about, Dorothy Kilgarren, because so Oswald was caught. I'm the patsy. Ruby comes up and shoots him as he's being transferred somewhere. Bang, bang. Ruby ends up dead. But while Ruby was being held, he spoke to Dorothy. She got 8 minutes alone with him, I believe, and he told her something. And then a week later, roughly, she was dead. Doesn't take a genius to work out something's fishy. So, I'd love to see what's happened. Yeah, Stormy, someone... Yeah.
I was going to comment on that. We'll see how much is redacted. That's going to actually be key because let's be honest, there are certainly a bunch of grifters out there that have their own version of what happened. So this may be a threat to whatever their version is. If it ends up not being that way, they can misinterpret the redacted parts because there's going to be redacted. So you're not going to see the home addresses and telephone number of people that were like witnesses in De La Plaza that they interviewed, things like that. Those are not going to be in there. But I think certainly manipulate that to say, well, this is the actual person that was in contact with the aliens or whatever it is. You know, that
Yeah, I
people are gonna
reckon. I think it'll probably end up being more along the lines of, yes, they'll redact a lot of stuff, and when you think about it, let's just say it's got the names of the CIA agents at the time that were involved, or even if it comes out that LBJ had anything to do with it, well, who cares? I wouldn't even, you wouldn't. But it could be that certain people who, although maybe now gone, not with us anymore, their family members are. So in a way to protect them, just so long as they come out and say, yes, the evidence shows that the CIA, FBI, LBJ, and these particular players in the mob scene were involved in his downfall, because that's all people really need to know. We don't need to know names. It's too long, it's too far away, and it protects the families of the. You don't backlash against
if they were to release names and stuff like that, there's going to be some nut job out there in the internet somewhere that's going to look up, backward trace, look up some grandchild of somebody that was involved. It's like, your grandpa was involved with. It's like, I was not even born yet. What are you talking about? Why are you bothering me? Yeah.
So that's why I can see. But as I say, I'll just be happy if they just come out and go, yeah, we've looked, and yep, this is who was involved. No names, but this is who was involved. So we now know it was a government thing. And yeah, that's terrible. And then the same with RFK, because that's his dad. And I have seen other family members of his coming out of late with some rather disgusting stuff. I mean, keep that to yourself, people. Like, just, so I hope it's Bobby that gets the answers and those other people, disgusting family. You can't pick your family, can you? You can't pick your family.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. But I'm glad it's happening. And so the next big thing, once he gets done with his first 100 days, maybe he'll open up the files on the UFOs and stuff. And I was wondering, do you remember when they had the thing about the aliens, and they said how the US government fails, it without a doubt always fails its audit? And they wanted to work out where all this money was going. Henceforth, is it going into secret projects? Oh, wouldn't it be all like, look how much they've found so far that's really bad that they've been spending taxpayers' money on. So they'll get rid of all that crap and all this underhanded back pocket stuff. They might pick up on, hey, why is all this money going to Lockheed? Or, hey, why is all this money going to such and such? And it might, RFK's uncle, what does RFK's uncle? Oh, John. Yeah, no, it was, but we're talking about RFK Senior, his dad, who was assassinated. They're going to give him, Bobby the file on that. He gets to see it first. He's probably already seen it, but
I imagine he has. God,
I'd imagine he
has. As much as that family has gone through, and even they don't know the particulars of certain things. They're like us. It's like, well, it might have been this person or that person or this agency or that agency. They're not that far removed from everybody else, and they're their family. That's their direct descendants. They should know a little bit more. The closure, I feel, is for him to see that in black and white, very definitive, and all that is immense, I feel.
Yeah, because a lot of people say stuff like, someone said it was the guy that was that did shoot him. Someone said, oh, it was close range and he wasn't close enough to shoot him. Well, I've seen the footage. He was right in front of him. He was close enough to shoot him, unless I'm looking at someone else. So, but it just means, was he a lone crazy person, or was he hired? The only odd things about that is that he was that day he was supposed to not go out through the kitchen. He was supposed to go out the front way or something, or it might have been vice versa. But either way, the guy that shot him was in the kitchen. So, a bit odd. But anyway, we might find out. We might not. But I guess we'll find out something.
That's actually pretty important, is when it comes to all of those secret redacted files or whatever it is, whatever we end up getting, temper your expectations. I don't feel like there's going to be any direct lines to some specific person for sure that you can say that's the one man that masterminded it all. I don't think we'll get that. We may see, yes, there was CIA involvement as far as like shooters and things like that, and there was a plan and behind the scenes to do a bunch of things, and this is how it turned out. For the better,
I think that'll be more the case. But especially especially now too, when you're looking at everything that's come out with that the other stuff that the FBI, I won't get into it here, but like fuck, it was all, I know they've got to do as they're told, but do they? Can't they arc up? And when because people look at the FBI, CIA, probably thanks to Hollywood, CIA, you always think, oh, don't mess with the CIA. But FBI, you always look to as heroes. And I think most of them are, like the majority of these people are, but then it's the people, upstairs that control things, people in charge. So let's hope that all these rats have been scared off the bloody ship and it gets all back into, but that's what I mean, you look at what's just happening right under people's noses and they're oblivious. So if that can happen now with all the tech and everything, imagine what they must have gotten away with back in the day. Like just imagine. So we'll see
we'll never know about. It's just insane some of the stuff they could get away with back then.
But it'll certainly be interesting. I'm putting Valentine's Day is coming up, people. If you know about Valentine's Day, I think I told you I won St. Valentine. I don't really know much about him except he was supposed to be a saint, but I think he wasn't a very nice person. I could be wrong. I might have to, and I'm like, what the? I'm sure St. Valentine's Day has got something to do with someone who wasn't nice, or I don't know. I'll look it up. But I am putting together a little video on St. Valentine's Day massacre. So on Valentine's Day, guys can watch that. That's my present to everybody for Valentine's Day. I'm just popping one together for people who don't know what that was about. It's been interesting for me though. I've been getting maps of Chicago, like the crime scene pictures and stuff, and looking at that area now. They've never built on that area. It's just demolished. It's just an empty block. But yeah, and then I want to see what ghost stories were supposed to be connected to the building before they demolished it, where the massacre took place. But I did find a picture of a boy who used to live in there. So the wall where they were all lined up and shot in about 1937 or something, the building was still being used as something, I think, like a storage facility or something, and the young man lived there and his bed is pushed up against that wall, and he's and I'm thinking, and it said no ghost ever bothered him or something like that, and I'm like, yeah, there's probably never any ghosts there, but people, if there was to be one, you'd think it'd be there, eh? Excuse me.
So bless you.
Excuse me. So yeah, I'm going to pop that, so that'll be Valentine's from me, but there you go. Oh dear. So what else have we got to talk about, Enzo? Anything interesting?
That was all the prepared stuff I had, but
I wasn't prepared as always. No. Cheryl says the balance. Actually, Cheryl. I watched an old movie. There's tons of movies that have this in it, but yeah, there was a when they all got shot. There were two people there. There was the gang, the Moran gang, I think they were called. They were there. That was their garage, like it's where they kept their cars and stuff. But they'd have their meetings about, the alcohol and stuff. And there was a boy there working on the cars. Oh man, I don't know if he was a boy. And there was also another fellow there. I'm trying to remember what he was. I think he was an accountant. He was there too, but he wanted to get in on the action, but he wasn't yet. He wasn't actually part of the gang. And as for the boy that was working on the cars, that's all he did. But he was unlucky. He was there when they came to do the job. It's very well thought out. Very well thought out. So they had a house across the road where they had lookouts to make sure the dirty coppers didn't come up and ruin their plan. They had the house. They were just pulled up and parked outside. 2 men dressed as policemen walked in. They came in one entrance. This isn't the it's probably in the movie, but I mean, I'm going by the evidence I've read about. So they come in the front and dressed as police and said, righto, all of you, boom, straight up against the wall. So all these guys, I, in my imagination, thought that the guys were facing them when it happened. But no, they were told to face the wall and put their hands up on the wall, so they had their backs, and they just thought they were being raided by the police. And then those 2 policemen that came in the front walked to the end and let in the guys with the Tommy guns, and well, that's all she wrote. They shot them all dead, including the poor boy that was just there working on the cars. Or young man, I don't know. I should look up how old he was. And the guy who wanted to get in on the gang, who wasn't really in on it yet. But I was also going to put in the little episode who was responsible for bringing up the harebrained idea of prohibition in the first place. And I thought, and yeah, sure, it was 2 congressmen. Oh, yeah, we don't want alcohol. Meanwhile, they're drinking alcohol out the back. But yeah, 2 congressmen were responsible, and the president vetoed it. So, yeah, I don't know. So I'm going to put a little bit about that, because I always wondered. I knew about prohibition, and of course, it was a big thing back in the 20s, and that's how a lot of the mobsters made their money. But I always wondered, why would you do that? Like, why would you say no, alcohol-free America? Like, so that's what I want to look into, those crooked congressmen who were probably had bloody cellars full of wine. But yeah, so anyway, I'm going to make a little video for you guys on that, so you can watch that on Valentine's Day. There you go. I could probably do one on St. Valentine too, for people who don't know much about him, because I don't know anything really, so I'll research and find out. And I'll pop a couple of things together. But that's what I'm working on at the moment. I got all of my footage out from Ancient Ram Inn, and I've been going through that. So far, nothing. There is one bit of footage where I hear that funny knocking, jumping that I told you about when I was in a little area where someone jumps up and down on the floor. That's what it's felt like. But I'm just going to have a little listen and see what I find and pop something together about that. But that, again, that'll be more about the actual history of the house and what it was used for and who lived in it and all that sort of thing, and my experience there. So, it's a nice house. It's so super cute. It could be so pretty. It just needs someone to live there and do the garden all up pretty, a nice cottage garden and a water fountain and I don't know, and pretty curtains. Like, I was sitting in there going, oh, it could be so pretty. It's not horrible, but it could be better. It could be an absolute beautiful little cottage. It's not that little. Oh, well, it's not that big either. I don't know, but it's pretty. Dee. Yes, Dee. They would have had their own stash for sure. Absolutely. So that's where I'm up to. Has anyone got any questions for us at all? Have I missed anything?
Well, while we're waiting for questions to come in, I did see a video earlier this week that reminded me of something that I could see you in that position. That it's a shared video that's down below if you want to pull that up.
Oh, okay. Let's have a look. Oh, animals. An ostrich? Is that an ostrich?
See a white tiger? Like, oh, wait. There's a donkey in the foreground.
He's fat. He's fed real good.
Oh, pretty.
Donkey over here.
Mwah, mwah, mwah. Love it. He's a very happy little fellow.
He's really smiling.
laughing, cracking me up.
Hey,
Oh, he was
Yeah, that's-
grabbing the door handle.
That just seemed like something I would find. Yeah, and it really was like Donkey from Shrek. It just seemed like something that Karen would find herself in.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Dee, here in Australia, Enzo, we used to call it Firecracker Night, but when I was a little girl, we called it Guy Fawkes. I'm trying to remember the date. I'd have to Google it. Tanya, my super clever girl, could probably find Guy Fawkes, the date where we used to celebrate it, but it'd be Firecracker Night. But that's because Guy Fawkes, back in the eons ago, wanted to blow up Parliament in London. So, but he was found, like, that the whole thing was, stopped. He was, I think, pretty sure he was drawn and quartered. I'm pretty sure his head was put on a stake somewhere. November 2nd. Yeah, I think you're about right, November. If you really want me to, Cheryl. She asked for a kiss. So we celebrated Guy Fawkes Night.
Tanya is correct. November the 5th.
November the 5th. Yeah, they foiled him just in time. Otherwise, he would have blown up all of Parliament. But there was sort of like a reason behind it and everything. So for years and years and years, well, I don't know when they stopped calling it Guy Fawkes Night, and I don't know when we stopped celebrating it. But it had to have been maybe the late 70s or 80s. I'm not sure. I haven't really looked into that much. But yeah, we don't celebrate it anymore because technically he was a terrorist. But I don't know that we were celebrating what he did. I think we were celebrating the fact that he was caught. I could be wrong. I'll look into that. How's that sound? About there. Oh, I would have definitely fed the me and animals. Absolutely, I would have fed the. I would have let him get in
the donkey's teeth were. I was like, wow. I just went to the dentist a couple of weeks ago. His teeth look way better than mine.
Yeah, donkeys are good. I like donkeys. But yeah, so that was we used to do Guy Fawkes Night. We don't have firecracker nights anymore. The only night that firecrackers go off here, I think, is New Year's Eve now. And when I was a little girl, the amount of little boys, we called them penny crackers, or penny, because you would pay a penny for these little crackers that basically fitted in your hand. But the amount of little boys that would lose some fingers because, holding them the wrong way and they go kaboom. Yeah, that was Cracker Night. That's why it was Guy Fawkes. And then I think later on we stopped calling it Guy Fawkes. It went to Firecracker Night, as kids would go, oh, Firecracker Night. Yeah. What's Dee saying? UK goes off, fireworks everywhere. They still spray up in it. We loved it as a kid, but no fireworks, not legal. No, fireworks are illegal everywhere in Australia. They used to be legal for the longest time. Oh, they might still be in Canberra, but I don't think so. That's where you could go to buy them, in Canberra, but I don't think you can do it anymore. Yeah, penny crackers. Yeah, penny crackers. But yeah, we don't. Actually, I should have a quick look now. I'm pretty sure they didn't celebrate what he did. I think they celebrated the fact that he was caught, but I could be wrong because I can't remember. I know he was like he was doing it because there was something going on in government at the time. There we go. The plot. We remember the gunpowder plot of 1605 when Guy Fawkes and fellow Catholic conspirators attempted to blow up Parliament and assassinate. Sorry, where would I go? It blew up on me. Attempted to. It went away. Go away. Reject all. Hang on. I'll see if I can put this up. Put it over here so you can see it. Go to. One day I'll just be super quick at doing this, won't I? There you go. He was born in York. 1570, son of Edward, church lawyer and prominent Protestant in the city, and Edith, his family. So his son of Edward, and his mum must have been Eve. Had two brothers, John and Christopher. And yeah, that's at the time after you had to be because of King Henry VIII, you know, all that bizzo. He got rid of the Catholics and and it went on. So it's dangerous to be a Catholic back in those days. Now, why did he do it? Guy Fawkes, faithful man of great. Why? There we go. With the new reign, Catholics across the country had hoped for the end of the religious persecution they suffered for so long. After all, the King's mother, Mary, Queen of Scots, had been a devout Catholic. However, they were soon disappointed. The Protestant King James was not tolerant, and the conspirators, with Guy Fawkes now among them, decided on a drastic measure. Catesby's plan was to blow up Parliament during its state opening on the 5th of November, when James I, the Queen, and his heir would also be present and would be killed. The conspirators then hoped to crown the King's young daughter, Princess Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth. Well, there you go. So that's why. So I don't know. Maybe that's why you celebrate a terrorist, because he was trying to get rid of the tyranny. He was trying to stop persecution of the Catholic Church. So that's what I mean. But yeah, so whether or not we celebrate it to celebrate him trying, or whether we celebrate the fact he was caught, either way. What did I miss? Canberra. Oh, Canberra still sells them. Oh, there you go. Yeah, my son lives in Canberra. I should buy a firecracker, but no, my luck, it'd catch something on fire.
Is that a big thing in Australia, having firecrackers and fireworks and stuff like that?
No, but you get the odd person in your neighbourhood who's a bit of a dickhead, and on somebody's birthday they've got some firecrackers they let off. The problem is with the firecrackers is that, like, someone in where I live, the street over, someone had on New Year's Eve had the firecrackers, and we're letting them off, but it's very dry here behind my house. Nothing caught fire, thankfully, but one of the firecrackers that they let off hit my roof. And I'm like, this is how houses catch fire. You've got to, So yeah, there's a reason that they've banned the sale of fireworks. What's it like in America? Can you buy them in America? I don't know.
It depends on where you live. It's very much a city or a state-wide kind of thing. Like where I live in Kansas, the city of Wichita, which I'm just on the outskirts of. I'm technically not in Wichita. You cannot have any fireworks that leave the ground is basically how it works. But the thing is there's you can go just outside the city or even across the border into Oklahoma and get practically anything. You can get almost the equivalent of what like whole cities and counties have for like giant celebrations. Because of course the 4th of July, Independence Day in the US, that's the big time. For like the week before and the week after Independence Day here in the U.S., my neighborhood sounds like Fallujah. It's crazy. There's explosions going off all the time and things whizzing by and all that.
Well, I know. I'm pretty sure in Virginia City, you're not allowed. It's got to be the pyrotechnic people only in Virginia City. Again, I think just because it's dry there, so if people do stupid things.
Sure.
It just takes one firecracker to hit one roof in Virginia City, and it's goodbye town. So yeah. People.
You're always aware of who has the shingle roofs downwind of wherever you're at when you're putting off fireworks in the U.S. It can get out of hand quickly.
Yeah, I just think they're really dangerous people. They're pretty to watch, all the sound and stuff. But they're pretty to watch. But yeah, let the experienced people do it because so you don't blow off your fingers.
It was several years ago, but the group that I used to hang out with, one guy had a place way out into the country, and people would bring in hundreds and hundreds of dollars worth of fireworks. And some of them were like, they call them a cake, where it's this giant, like, flat box. It's like the size of like one of those big flats of like soda pop and stuff, where there's like 30 or 40, whatever it is, in a pack. But they have little launchers on there where it does like a little fountain on one part, and then it does like shooting up the little stuff that explodes in the air on another part. It's everything in one little package kind of thing. those things are normally like $80 to $120, depending on how fancy you want to get. And the kids loved these little things that were only like $1 a piece. They're called like the June bug or something like that, where it had little like cardboard fins on it and it would just shoot straight up in the air and whistle as it went up. But they were actually pretty cool because kids loved them. You know, kids could get out there with the long extension, fire starters and set them off and then back up and then wing, go way up in the air. And kids,
they're the ones that kind of whistle when they go off and go.
Yeah. The little twisty thing up in the air. That for $1, it's actually pretty good bang for your buck because kids love them because they're cool, and you can see it from a distance. It's things like that. There's a little bit of everything. There's some like the Saturn V little rocket things where it's just a brick, that's like this, and it's got little teeny tiny little projectiles in it that shoot up like they're like the size of a bullet, honestly. And then it's like beep, 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 beep. And it goes on, it seems like for 10 minutes, where it just beep, 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 beep. Yeah. You really want to go to that bar behind me? Blow me kiss. Well, this is actually St. John's Island in the Virgin Islands. So if you can plot a course there, you can do exactly that. You have to wear a cool shirt like this lady that kind of matches mine.
No, she's got a I was wearing this today, where it needs to be shined up. It's a little mask. Can you see that? Hang on. It's a little shape mask. It's silver, I think. Well, I don't know. The chain's silver, but the shape. John sent it to me with his mask, which I think, see his mask there.
Yep,
So I saw it hanging on my jewelry thing today, and I thought, I'll wear that today. And typical, normally he sticks his head in, and he hasn't stuck his head in, so I can't say, look what I'm wearing. He wants me to do a live with him soon. I said, yeah, just tell me when. I said, the only time I'm not available is a Friday night, your time, when I'm with Enzo. So there you go. So that'll be interesting. That'll be nice. He's funny. I like him. He makes me laugh. And that's important, isn't it, people, to just laugh? But yeah, well, I don't know. I haven't got anything else to talk about. No one showed up today.
We're kind of petering out here a little bit. This is mid-February, so it's not even early February, so it's kind of one of those dead times. Even this place, a tourist hotspot, is behind me. Not a lot of people there. Yeah, it's still cold. I know I've got snow in my forecast for Monday night and into Tuesday and Wednesday, so it's still kind of wintry in the northern hemisphere.
Is that because I've got nothing to talk about? Oh, I've got plenty I could talk about, but I don't want, yeah, but I don't want to talk about it. Yeah, I talk about I vent with Enzo before I come on live about stuff that I want to talk about, but I don't want to talk about it. I don't know. There's not much. I mean, we've already, like that, apart from, as I said earlier, that Justin Baldoni, that's his name, Justin Baldoni, Blake, the one married to Ryan Reynolds, and all that sort of thing. There's a big drama around those people at the moment, with her apparently basically stealing the movie away from the Justin fellow, then saying that he sexually something or other. And I'm oh my God. But it's turning out that she's apparently telling a big amount of fibs. And he's got all the receipts. So I'm kind of like, every time I go onto the YouTube, there's a story on that pops up, and I think, oh, Jesus, really? Like, just too much money, not enough sense, if that makes sense. But yeah, no, that Justin fellow, I don't think he's awfully rich. But certainly I didn't realise how rich Ryan Reynolds was. I still like Ryan Reynolds. They're saying some mean things about him, but yeah, I think I don't know if what they're saying about what they've done is correct and turns out to be true. It's pretty terrible, pretty underhanded. But apart from that, nothing else. I can't think of any serials. Yeah, too much drama, Cheryl. It's just kind of like, oh Jesus. Like I know who I believe, and I just wish they'd all shut up now and give him some money, and maybe he can put his cut of the movie out as opposed to what she ran off with. That'll do. That'll do. No one needs to hear it. It's a Super Bowl. When does that take place? Is that tonight or is it already happened?
That is Sunday, so day after tomorrow for us in the
so
U.S.
Monday for
Yeah.
me.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Friday night about 9 p.m. for me in the center of the U.S. So another 48 hours till that kicks off, which is always a big event for whatever reason. It's one of those.
Who's the entertainment this year? Do you know?
Honestly, I don't know because I'm not a sports ball guy.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
No, I just. But sometimes, let's see, Super Bowl 2025 entertainment will be, I don't know. Who's performing? Who's Kendrick Lamar? Who's Kendrick Lamar? Obviously a rapper or something, I guess.
I've heard the name, but I don't know much beyond that, honestly.
No. I like to look at the ads, though. I do like the ads that they put out at Super Bowl time.
That's
that.
usually the dichotomy is either if you're not a sports person,
watch the
you can
ads.
at least see some kind of entertaining ads that they're paying way too much for because it's during the Super Bowl. But multi-million-dollar ad reads for a 30-second commercial during the Super Bowl.
I know. I'm just trying to. I did see. There's one with. I don't know why I'm brain dead today. Beckham. What's his first name? The English soccer player, David Beckham, and Matt Damon. That's it. They play Long Lost Twins or something in an ad. I'm like, oh. So I don't know. And there's so I'll watch the ads. I like watching the ads, and so that'll be nice. I don't watch the football. I kind of understand Gridiron because growing up watching a whole heap of old like movies, like what's that one with Ronald Reagan in it? Do It for the Gipper. Like I can still remember certain old 1930s, 40s movies around, the game, and you'd watch the game and they'd be described. So I kind of know the rules. It's not too intricate, but I don't like watching it. They look handsome though, with their little tight pants on. They look handsome, and then they take their helmets off, and you go, "Oh, put it back on."
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like, you look at them and you think, "Oh, they're fit. Like they look good," and then they take their helmets off, and it's like, "Oh, missing teeth," or it's like, "Well, yeah, no, put the helmet back on."
How did your face end up like that with a helmet on? How hard is this? An impact did you take? But there's many different levels when it comes to that. For most Americans, it's someone will be a big sports fan, and they'll throw a big party, and they'll invite everybody over in front of the giant screen TV. And most people will bring a select dish to some kind of some snack or something like that that you would bring. That's basically it ends up being that the Super Bowl is you eat a lot of really crappy food that tastes delicious that you would never normally eat but somebody's gone to the trouble to make it well. So of course you're going to try it and love it, and you just shove chicken wings or bean dip or some kind of thing like that into your face for a few hours while the game goes on, and you don't pay attention to anything that's going on in the game. Then suddenly the halftime thing goes, and you're like, "Wow, this is not very good." And then you just go and eat more. It's wings are the popular thing for the Super Bowl because it's simple, it's easy, and you can adjust the flavoring of whatever is on, your wings. You can make it super spicy. You can make it super sweet. You can have, like a
I
garlic
like buffalo
parmesan or
wings.
something like that. Classic buffalo wings is that's usually the classic buffalo wings where, tomatoey, spicy kind of flavor that's kind of the norm for a lot of those. And some people go and they'll mix it up a little bit and make like an Asian kind of a, sesame chicken style chicken wings or something like that.
Stop it. Stop it.
And that's the thing about Super Bowl weekend in the US is it's kind of this excuse to eat a lot of delicious, very bad for you food.
Oh, golly. Yeah, well, then apart from in the political world, there's not much happening. I think that's the most exciting thing at the moment happening at all. But we'll see.
And that's, this is always the toughest time for like YouTubers and entertainment business, all that stuff, because it's February. Not a whole lot is going on in February. So you kind of have to stretch yourself a little thin, and whatever news you have to like really stretch it out to kind of make sense and get some level of viewership on it.
Yeah, but it's certainly a strange time in the world. Everything's odd. But it's going to be a good year. I think it's going to be a good year. As soon as everything's sorted out, I think it's going to be fantastic. And I'm hoping it trickles down here to Australia.
It will.
You can only hope. It normally does. Normally, whatever happens in America, like I say, the little puppy dogs down here that are our government follow suit. So hopefully, well, they're already talking, for example, about getting rid of certain language. And then you've still got people, whoa, and I'm like, just whatever. But that's not the most important thing. Getting cost of living down is the most important thing, especially for us here. We're the same. I looked again at airfare prices yesterday because I was talking with Taylor and saying, maybe September would be a good time to come. September is still nice weather, and looked at the prices, and I got really excited because I put in return airfare, and it come up 2,500, and I went, oh yeah, that's really great. No, that's one way.
Oh,
I'm
no.
like, I can't afford $5,000. So American dollars, that's nearly $10,000 to come. For a return.
Yeah, I'm kind of writing off the whole year of 2025 as far as large expenditures, like traveling overseas or even like week or more kind of a stay at any place. I'm kind of writing all that off for that. This is a rebuilding year where everything's getting restructured. Pricing plans are going to fluctuate wildly, almost from day to day, that you can't really depend on. So I'm kind of sitting back for 2025 and letting everything stabilize, where 2026 will be a very strong year. I feel everything will be
I think so.
settled a little bit more. Everything's way more stabilized for how it's going to go, economically and things like that. It's going to take a while for a lot of, for people that voted for, these changes to occur. It's going to take a while for that to actually translate into reality. So I would recommend you kind of like relax a little bit as far as, travel and vacations and stuff like that for 2025, because everything is in so much flux, even right now. It's only been a few weeks, and it's going to fluctuate a little bit more for probably the next couple of months. Things will be a little calmer, I feel, towards summer, but it's certainly one of those things that if you're trying to plan ahead, don't make any big high dollar plans for this year.
Yeah, that's why I thought myself I'll leave it until next year and see where I am in a financial point of view. But yeah, things could get worse here in Australia. Our dollar could get worse. At the moment, I think it's around about 60. Oh, it got down to 59 cents the other day. 59 cents in the American dollar. So it was pretty bad. I think it might have come up a little bit. I don't know. But and our government here we're getting ready for an election to come up. So, of course, we've got our government that's currently in promising this, that, and handouts as they do. And I'm like, dude, don't promise handouts. Like, promise doing something about all this expense. Like, stop wasting people's money. Like, hurry up. So I don't know. We need maybe Elon can come over here and do a bit of math. That might sort out. I'll guarantee you. I remember you could apply for grants, like an artist could apply for a grant from the government, and you might get $5,000 to $10,000, sometimes more. And it would be something like you just apply for the government and say, I would like to make a statue, please, and I would like to do this, that, and the other, and they send the money your way. But there has to be, like, it's just stupid. There's a lot of wasteful spending everywhere, I think, and you never get to find out. No one tells you anything. So I don't know. I think that's where I'm a little bit envious of you guys at the moment, because you've got it all coming out, like. And it's like, oh, great, and they're stopping it. So
it's still a lot of things in flux, which I feel that's the important thing to look at, no matter where you live or who you like or don't like or whatever. Is it's all we're in turbulent times right now for at least the first half of 2025 for sure. Don't make any long range plans past the summer,
because you don't know what might backfire. Like, something could backfire, but I don't think it will. I think a lot of people. I think it's going to be okay, but I reckon it'll just take a little while, because you can't. It's how many weeks has Trumpy been in now? 2, nearly 3. You can't.
It's been a full month. I mean,
yeah, right. Like I would say, and he said himself when he was running, at least 6 months till you see the effects of everything hit in.
Sure.
So people, I think for anyone who did vote for him, they should be very happy, because he's doing every single thing he said he would. So can't go wrong with that.
That's why I go with the don't make any giant economical type plans, especially between now and at least mid-summerish, no matter where you live. So it's going to be June, July, August until you see at least a grand level of stabilization. Could happen.
So I reckon with and as I say, we're having our elections in June or July, I think. Pretty sure our current government won't get back in, because he's tried to do things in the last few weeks to stop our freedom of speech. He's a underhanded little bastard. He gets in there and tries to do things when people aren't looking, but there's a few people looking, so he's been stopped. But I don't want my freedom of speech taken away. Like, we don't have what you have. We don't have it in an amendment, but it's kind of like, you should. Everyone on the planet can have an opinion. You don't have to agree with everybody. Like, I don't have to agree with everybody. You just have a respectful disagreement. So I hear what you're saying, and I respectfully disagree, and that's it. End of story. Because everybody's allowed to have an opinion, but governments can't take that away from you. That's not right. I mean, if I want to live like that, I will go to Russia. At the moment, I think they've got more freedom of speech than they have in bloody the UK. The UK is a shocker at the minute. Oh, gee.
Look at that.
Yeah, Labor should panic. They've done I will tell Dee, because she'll understand what I'm saying. It's interesting, the comparisons. I think I did explain this to Enzo the other day, but our Labor Party used to be for the people. It was the working class people's thing, which is, I think, your Democrats used to be like that, I think. And our Liberal party used to be for the rich. So if you voted for the Liberals, you usually had your own business, or, you know, they were always, catering to the rich, right? And the Labor, friends of the union, blah, blah, blah. But the working class man would vote Labor. It's kind of different. It's almost reversed now with our government. So it's kind of like what happened to you guys. One minute you've got the people that are looking after the government agency that's looking after the people, suddenly not, like, what's going on, and all this silly business. So we'll see what happens. But and I was a Labor voter in Australia all my life. Not anymore. No, we've got a redhead here. Not many people like her either. Her name's Pauline Hanson, and I reckon she's wicked. That poor woman has been through so much since she got into power. Well, she's not in power. She's the head of, what's the name of her party? One Nation, she calls it's One Nation. And she's in charge of that. And she's been around for a long time. She used to have a fish and chip shop back in the day. And she didn't like how things were being run. And so she ran for a seat on our parliament, I think. I think that's how it works. Anyway, people call us stupid and racist and blah, blah. And I thought about it, and I thought, what people call her that? And I thought, oh, that's right. The media calls her that. And I'm thinking, so now, of late, I've gone to, she's got her own YouTube channel, but I've gone to watching things she actually puts up herself where she's speaking about stuff and listening to what she says in context and all that sort of thing. And she's actually, it's not. They're doing the same thing. Like, they take snippets of what she says and do make it, like, I don't agree with everything she says, but she's all right.
That's
but
fine.
She'll never be minister. Yeah, please. I think she's great. And I like, yeah, she used to say that, please explain. Her cartoons.
Cartoons? She has cartoons?
Yeah, I'll send. Oh no, I'd probably get hit with the copyright if I played one now. I'll send you a link. I'll send you a link to one of her cartoons later. Even if you don't really understand Australian politics, you'll get the gist of the cartoon.
Well,
but
full disclosure, I'm a sucker for a redhead, so I'm going to be leaning one way anyway. So.
Well, there you go. So I don't know, but she'll be, I don't care. She'll be getting my vote. She won't become prime minister because people just believe the narrative and think she's a dickhead. She's not. She's pretty clever. And so I'll vote for her. She won't get in, but if enough people vote for her, she'll be in Parliament, so she can be a spanner in the works if they try to pass anything that she doesn't like. And which she did. She saved us a couple of weeks ago. She was the one who cottoned on to the fact that our Prime Minister, I can't remember, it was like smoke and mirrors, look over there. And he was trying to put through this thing to stop us having freedom of speech. But she was there and she saw it and she stopped it. It was her that we can thank that he didn't get in to do that. So, yeah, he's a little worm. I don't like him. He's like, he's one of those, I don't know, he's a suck-up. He's a suck-up. We haven't really got a good choice here, Enzo. We haven't got a good choice of anyone, but, yeah, I'll just go for her and we'll see. I'd love to have a redheaded she's one for cutting down on immigration, Australia first. So, you know, you look after how's our Australians first, cut down on immigration so that our Australian people can get their homes and everything into control. She's wants to cut back. She released something the other day. She's got an idea to cut back on spending. I mean, she reckons about $90 billion. And I'm like, whoa, I reckon she's been listening to Elon. She should write a letter to Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
Redheads rule the world. Oh dear, but yeah, so our political system, but yeah, she is, Dee. I'm glad someone else agrees with me. That's what I mean, though. I used to have a bit of a giggle myself, I have to say. Yeah, Raggedy Ann's got red hair. You know, she can be our leader. But yeah, I just think, yeah, but I used to laugh when sometimes they'd have her on, but they pick on her. Like she went to jail once for something, and it wasn't even really her fault. She got out. Then the other day, someone tried to sue her for something. I think the judge said, "Oh, yeah, that was a bit racist," and I can't remember what she said now. I'd have to refresh my memory, but I did look at what she said, and I thought that wasn't racist. She was basically sort of saying, hey, you know, we should cut back on that a little bit and maybe look at sort of helping out our own residents. And someone got all offended. And, you know, I'm like, oh, my. Yeah,
it's something reasonable that somebody would get offended at, I would imagine. Yeah.
So it happens here too. Yeah. So I'll send you one of her cartoons. I'll just bring one up and play it here, but I'll probably get in trouble because it'll be a thing.
Don't do that.
No, but they're funny. Like she had one out with Robert Irwin in that, you know, Steve Irwin's son. So it was a cartoon of him and Bluey, the cartoon character Bluey, and Robert Irwin. Now it was just a comical take on Brisbane and different things, and it was freaking funny. And apparently Robert Irwin went, "Oh, don't use me in your cartoons," and Australian people turned around and basically said to him, "Oh, don't be a bloody sook. Like it's a cartoon, pull your head in." So I think he did. But because Australians do have Tanya, it doesn't matter if you're a criminal, you know, will seem to win. I don't know. I'm not sure who you're referring to, Tanya. But yeah. Technically, though, technically he is, isn't he? But I reckon that'll get overturned at some point. That was pretty. There's a lot of astonishing things happen in this world, and I think, how is this even happening? Like, how is this even happening? But yeah, at the moment, I'm just tuned in, watching all of everything that's happening in your country unfold. Like you tune in, and he's signing something, and something's happened, and you're like, wow, that was quick. And then you go make a cup of coffee. Yeah, you go make a cup of coffee, come back and go, right, well, I wonder how what he's just doing now is going. What? Now he's signed that? Oh, crikey, it's hard to keep up. And apparently the press aren't keeping up either. Apparently the American
and
press.
that's the thing is there's so much getting dumped out there like that. They can't keep up. And having these like ridiculous, like focused for like a 24-hour news cycle, kind of a thing for any possible thing you could possibly think of, it doesn't work anymore because the way that Donald Trump's stuff works is it's bam, 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 bam. To be honest, the most, the news cycle for the last few days is the USAID stuff, is the number of agencies across the planet that have been getting American taxpayer money towards
that came
ridiculous programs for making, a Iraqi version of Sesame Street and things like that.
Yeah.
What?
I saw it. Someone showed a clip. I can't remember who. I think it was Russell Brand, might have someone. And I'm like, why would the American people be funding that? Like, what? You've got your own people, your own country you should be looking after. And it's kind of like, it's the strangest thing. And and some of the big television, Politico couldn't make their payroll.
That's the biggest one. Yeah,
because their money was coming from the government, so they got their money but in doing so, to get their money from the government, they had to toe the line and report accordingly. So there you go. See, you get your comeuppance. If you do the wrong thing, you do the wrong thing. But yeah, it's still crazy. It's still crazy. And the amount of people that you hear and you think, are your eyes open? Ears? Do you need a hearing aid? Can you not visually see what's happening?
Yeah. There's going to be people in denial about all of it, but it's fairly clear out in the open for a lot of these things where, millions upon billions of dollars of American taxpayer, money spent on ridiculous things that honestly are anti-American. It works against the U.S. government. It works against U.S. people's beliefs about a lot of these things all across the world and inside of the United States. It's way deeper cuts than a lot of people realize, and that's what's coming out now.
I could be wrong about the amount, but I'm pretty sure it was 20 million. 20 million spent on welcome bags, welcome packages for the illegal people coming over the border. I'm like, what? 20 million. So welcome bags.
Yeah, it's bananas. The level of just pure waste of taxpayer money is just ridiculous.
Yeah, meanwhile, in your own streets of your own places, and like the flood victims in North Carolina,
Yes.
you know, being told we can give you $750. Meanwhile,
as a loan that you'll have to pay back.
Yeah, billions of dollars going out of the country for Sesame Street condoms, and then someone come up and said, "Oh, that condom story is bullshit about them making bombs with condoms." It's not bullshit; it's an actual thing. And I'm like,
it really isn't.
God. It's yes, Cheryl, absolutely. Just I don't know, it drives me nuts. I didn't.
We've only
there's only two people in our chat, so that's why I'm talking like I want to talk. I'm just over the idiot.
As far as the USAID, thing, the USAID's thing goes, it's certainly, we've only touched the surface of all of this money that is taxpayer money that has been funneled into this program and just gone crazy ridiculous across the whole world for things that are not in the same interest of the people that are paying these taxes to go out. It's like, what are you doing? It really is one of those things where it's like, okay, yes, I have to pay X amount of taxes every year, and that money is going to things that are just nonsensical. Things that don't even make sense. Things that,
well, like that, like Tanya's suggestion, condoms for Big Bird, You don't know. Don't hold your breath, Tanya. That could come out next. That could be the next big thing. But yeah, I'm just and then seeing some people rage against the people that are finding it. I'm like, why are you upset? Why are you not talking about why are you upset that it's been found? Like, they should shut down that thing. It's not doing what they were doing. And that means that a lot of these so-called programs that the money's gone to, who has made money from that? Someone's made money because some of the stuff that they've given it to hasn't been done. So someone's got a pretty hefty bank account. And now maybe next year when they audit the United States government, it'll come in under budget. That's what I reckon. Could work.
Wow.
I don't know. I'm just sitting back watching the show. I'm very entertained by it. I'm continually entertained when he gets up and gives a speech, because he just says
that's why, to circle back, this is why I'm saying 2025 year, it's a building year. There's going to be a lot of fluctuation, because we're discovering entire sectors of the federal government are involved with paying off agencies across the planet that are just they're taking U.S. tax dollars and just pissing it away on nonsense. It's like, why the fuck are we doing? No, we're pulling all that back. Fuck all of you. Yeah. We're pulling all that back.
Yeah, I wish I saw that Mr. Trump, President Trump, pulled back, is no longer wanting to have anything to do with WHO, the World Health Organization. And I saw our government said they weren't going to pull away from that. And I'm thinking, I wish you really would, because they're liars. Like, they just take our taxpayers' money too, and they didn't give us anything to do. Do you know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Hello, gorgeous lady. Hi, Kristen. Things that don't make sense usually means money's being skimmed into a few people. Absolutely. Absolutely. But there, what's the weather like there at the moment in Virginia City? Is it what time is it, Enzo? Where you are? Oh, it'd be dark. It'd be nighttime, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
It's
it's
winter
9:51 p.m. in the Central Time Zone.
in the
Virginia
central.
City,
So
I think would be
about
8 or 7:51. I'm not sure where exactly it falls. So we have
yes.
4 time zones in the U.S. So
Yeah. But yeah, we met. Oh, if anyone missed it yesterday, was it yesterday? If anyone missed it, I did. I put out an episode. I didn't do a live stream. I recorded an interview with a lady called Millette. She's an author, and she wrote. Go watch the episode if you want to later. It's Taylor and I talking to her. Cold, icy, frozen snow on the ground. Yeah, Pacific time. So yeah, Pacific. So it's about 7, 8 o'clock, something like that.
yeah, almost 8 o'clock their time.
Almost 8 o'clock. Yeah. I can imagine how cold it is there. What was I saying? I can't remember. I was talking about something surely important because I've just absolutely forgotten what I was saying. Oh, the interview. The interview. Taylor and I did an interview with Monette, and she's written books. She's written 17 in total, but we did the interview with her because growing up, she's 10 years older than me. So growing up, she was really interested in Bonanza. And then she finally got to, in later years, she got to meet the director, producer of the original series. And they made another one called Ponderosa. So she met with him and she wrote a few scripts and she wrote quite a few books about how Virginia City and the history within Virginia City was fairly well represented in the show Bonanza. So she's written quite a few little books about it. So we had a good chat to her. So if you're a bit bored later and want to have a little listen to her, she's giving away a free book as well. So if you email her, she will email you a copy of one of her books. So that's pretty cool. In the hopes, of course, that you'll like what you read and might go over and grab some of hers. But that was a good chat that I had. It was nice talking to Taylor. I was going to do just a live stream, but I was actually very unwell that day and I thought, oh, and besides, I like what I did better because then I put some pictures in and stuff and made some pretty pictures. I do like to edit sometimes, but there you go. Well, there you go. Given about 45 minutes ago, we didn't have anything to talk about. We vented a little bit on politics. But as I say, my channel, I don't care anymore. Where are you, Trumpy? There he is. There's my Trumpy. Make him talk, Enzo. Make him say hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. I have no idea. Yeah. Going to pick up trash with my vest on.
That's right. He's got his little vest on. Oh, I've moved him. You can't see him now. He sits under my little Japanese person. I don't know what he is. He's Japanese. Oh, maybe he's a Buddha. He's a Buddha. Yeah. He rub his belly, rub his head. He's good luck. I think so. So that's why. So I just hope that for everybody concerned, Australia, I'm worried about the UK. I hope the UK get a new person in charge. I really do. But I'm hopeful. Like I said at the beginning of this year when I got back online, I feel good. I feel like eventually everybody will settle down and see that they've been tricked, like they've been influenced in a big way. There's a lot of people out there, obviously. How many people voted? 73 or 78 million people. I can't remember. It was a lot of people that voted a particular way. And so at least we know that many people are aware now of what's been going on. And hopefully the other people won't be too disappointed and finally go, oh, my God, and stop concentrating on the fact that they don't like someone. Listen to what he's telling you. Or, well, not him. Look at what you're being shown. Look at the evidence. Look at the evidence for yourself with your little eyes. And I hope that the UK comes good. I hope we get a new Prime Minister here who, you know, shakes hands with a certain redhead and things here start to pick up. Because we're probably going to need help here if anything goes astray, because China's trying to take over. Well, they're already here in our waters, but China's trying to take over Taiwan. And it's not looking good there. So we're going to be in trouble if China ends up doing that, and we're going to need our allies. And I hope it doesn't work out that way, because you've got someone in charge now who doesn't want our boys to go to war, and he might be able to, you know, facilitate something. And hopefully all these people that make tons and tons of money from weapons are now filtered out. We've just got to do it in every other country now. Get rid of them, the warmongers, and just, yeah. You can't always do things peacefully, but I don't know. I think you can. I think you can come to a slight agreement there. It's just all the wackos that you've got to be careful of. I want everyone just to be happy. That's that's where I get my, you know, we can't always be happy. We can't always agree. But if you can agree to disagree and be nice about it, that's the important thing. Not yell, not rant. No, exactly. And I don't want any of my son's in the army, Cheryl. He's in the army. He's in Canberra. He's, oh, God, what are you now, Alex? He's a colonel. He's a something colonel. He's right up there. If there was a war, he wouldn't go with a gun in his hand, but he would definitely be involved because he does engineering. So like engineering. Logistics, I mean. So he'd probably go there with the bridge builders, you know, whatever. I don't want him going off to some country to, like, I'm glad we're out of all the places now that were terrible. It's a shame that some of those places were abandoned as quickly as they were, which basically led it back to square one. But, you know, we'll see what happens. I just want everyone to be happy, nobody to get hurt, people just to listen and take a breath and not hate people just because you can't even really verbalise why. I often ask people, why don't you like him? Well, what is it about? Oh, he's just, you know, he says stupid things. Yeah, but why don't you like him? I've just never liked him. And I'll go, yeah, but why? But why? But why? But why? And they come up with stuff they've just heard in the press. And I think, okay, well, I like him. I liked him in Home Alone. I liked him when he sang with, who did he sing with? I see, I grew up, well, not grew up, I was at the age where he was on telly all the time. And he was funny. And he is funny. So I like him. I'm sorry. I'm not going to, I just like him. Unfortunately, it's not only the wackos you have to worry about. War is just too profitable. Exactly. That's why we've got to weed out these people that make money from the guns. And that's really going to be hard because they're really, really rich. But time will tell. We'll see what can happen. And someone the other day, remember, I think I asked you last time Mr. Trump was in, he never drew a wage. And I thought, I'm sure he's not going to do it this time. And correct, he's not being paid to be president. So he is not actually taking a wage. And neither, someone said, oh, and Elon Musk is not being paid to do what he's doing either. So, a lot of people are doing what they're doing just because they want things to be okay. Someone said, oh, Musk is only in it so he can get money for his trips to Mars. No, he doesn't need money from anyone for his trips to Mars. I'm sure it'd be nice
if he's going to do that regardless of anything else that happens.
Yeah, he's already been planning on doing that. I don't think that's all that far away, you know, from being ready. He's just got to get the rocket ship, I think. He's already worked out how to do it, so he's just got to get those people that are happy to leave the planet and never come back, because they'll be growing potatoes with Matt Damon on Mars.
That's right. They're going to do The Martian by Matt Damon. One of my favorite movies, actually. I really like that.
I do like that movie.
But
if anyone's not watched it, watch it. It's pretty cool. It's, after all, it's a fit Matt Damon too. So, you know. It's a fit Matt Damon, so it's worth a watch. But yeah, it's
actually fairly accurate for how something like that would occur up until the end, when he's like cutting his glove to do fly around like Iron. That's not how that would work, but no. That's near the end of the movie. but the other stuff before that is actually fairly accurate for how it would work. So,
Well, they're going to, I think, yeah, we've got 2 minutes, and now I want to talk about something interesting. So if we go over a few minutes, it doesn't matter. But from my understanding, when he sends people there will be a dome type thing because the atmosphere is not friendly. I think that's what he's working on, how to make the atmosphere friendly to humans. So therefore, they're going to have to construct something to be much like that movie, I guess, much like that movie, and then construct it. But I reckon there might be a way, you know how here we can make rain? What do they call it? You know, they send the stuff up and it makes rain.
Well,
I can't think what
there's certainly always been a plan as far as Mars goes for bioengineering the entire environment, where you would, there's stuff from the back in the 70s to implant like dark colored like almost like a not fungus is not the right word.
Thank you, guys.
But
Thank you, guys.
something like that, where but basically you would have like a dark colored moss or lichen that would on the, because Mars does have a north and south pole with very very different levels of basically frozen carbon dioxide, where like a north and a south pole, where we would have ice. Normally we would have ice on Earth, where, you know, just frozen water. There, it's so cold on Mars, on the north and south pole, where you would have blocks of carbon dioxide that would be frozen, very much like you know, the north and south pole, like you would imagine on Earth, where it's water. Where there was actually a plan back in the 70s, back in the old Viking, you know, explorer days of NASA, where they would put a darker colored kind of you know, mat on top of it that would grow, that would live off of the little bit of water that's in that. Basically, it would cause it to melt, where all of that carbon dioxide that's frozen on the surface would melt and make that. It wouldn't be breathable by us, but it's a thicker atmosphere where you could make do with that. As Elon Musk a few years ago was like, Mars is a fixer-upper of our planet. We can sort of do a lot of things, but it's going to take a long time to kind of make it habitable, where you can like walk around without, you know, intricate gear on.
How old's Elon now? Elon's only about 40 something, isn't he? Or is he even that old?
I think he's 40s.
Yeah, I don't know. So it'd be great if within his lifetime, and I think he'll do it, he's determined, be great to see something like that happen. It would just be, the brave men and women that go and do it, because you're going to be brave because something could go wrong.
Believe it or not, on there's a website for people to volunteer to go to Mars, where in no uncertain terms, it is a one-way trip. You're not coming back. If you go there, you are going to die eventually on the planet Mars. And there's thousands of people that are willing to do exactly that. Where, you know, their generation, as they show up and start building things to kind of build out a system to where, you know, next generation would survive. It's certainly, it's one of those things that it's going to be a multi-generational thing in the long run, where there's going to be a generation that all they did was travel and lived a horrible life on Mars, of basically setting up the stuff to where future generations could actually thrive. And that's not entirely different from any kind of expansionism that you could certainly apply back in the day for like the US and for, you know, for Australia and places like that, where you would have early explorers that are going to set things up for future generations. that
I,
as
I
those
wish,
things build up.
yeah, I wish Elon would look at coming to Australia, because Australia is massive, as in like land where he could set up his thing. But I think he's in Texas now, isn't he? I think so.
Yeah, for the
He's
most
got a
part.
thing. Yeah, but I wish he'd think about it, because we've got, we're in a good spot here too for space travel. But yeah, look, the world can only, well, it could get worse, but I think now that people are sort of waking up a little bit, still a ways to go with that. Still a ways to go with a lot of people forgetting the brainwashing. I can only call it that. It's brainwashing. People start to sort of get out of that a little bit, and wake up and look around and go, oh, okay, I see now. I think things are going to be okay, so long as we keep going in that direction, so long as nothing drastic happens to stop the progression. I think the outlook is good. I mean, if Mr. Trump can do what he wants to do over in get everybody to be peaceful in the East, that'll be great, because apparently he was nearly there. So if that settles down there, UK gets itself under control, we get some new government here, and it all sort of starts working. Everyone gets everything working together. Either that, or if America gets really, really great again, I might move there. I'll say, can I come? Can I have a welcome bag? Yeah, like I would. I don't think my girls would like it much, but, my eldest girl just turned 25 today. It's her birthday.
Oh,
So there.
happy birthday.
Yeah. The youngest, Sunny Sock, she'll be 20 this year, but they're all still like, Mum, it's my fault. I think it's my fault. What do you reckon, ladies? Is it my fault? I just, every time they ask for something, I'm, yeah, and I run around and do it, because I keep forgetting that they're not babies anymore. But yeah, but I could live in both places, I guess. I could live in Virginia, because I'd be living in Virginia City, I reckon. That's where I'd go. I'd live in Virginia City. I'd find somebody's basement to live in. I'd go and live in Virginia City and stay there for maybe, I don't know, 6 months, and then come home for 6 months, or 3 months. But then you've got to have the money for the flights. Maybe by then flights will be cheaper again. Maybe world travel will become cheap. It should be cheaper. More people would do it. Yes, they are all our babies, aren't they? Yes, she's a quarter of a century old. I looked at her little pictures today, and I'm like, you just blink and they're too big. But never mind. Let's see. When you bring your lovely up to VC for a visit, you need to bring Enzo with you. Oh, interesting to. Oh, well, the plan is that I've said to Enzo, as has Taylor. Taylor has offered him to, like, hey, if you get here to Virginia City, she'll tell him where to go, and if I knew he was coming anyway, I'd make sure everybody knew he was coming and would look out for him. Like, I'd say, hey, he's coming, can you look out for him? So
look for that guy in the ugly shirt. That would be me. Yeah.
Well, I'd definitely send you into the roasting house first, because all the girls there would sort you out, and then I'd send you up to the. Then I don't mean it like that. Then I'd send you, as far as eats is concerned. If you don't go to there's so many good restaurants, but my favourite by far, because of the staff, is the Cider House, which is now in the main street. I'm sure my friend Connie had even come, and she lives down there. She's the one with the mules, with Bernadine the mule. I'm sure she'd probably have a cup of tea with you. I don't know. There'd be, not a cup of tea. She doesn't drink tea, but there you go. I don't know. Yeah, but I've said to Enzo that if he does want to go,
I want to check out the mines there. That's something that's very interesting to me.
And Taylor, even though she doesn't work there anymore, I'm pretty sure she could get you into the Sutro Tunnel. I haven't been there since they've extended it even more, so it must be so good. That's interesting. And you can walk up the hill at Sutro, and you can see all the old ruins of the house. It's just an interesting trip. But so far as the mines are concerned, there's tons in Virginia City. Like, some of them, you pay to walk through, but there's one in Virginia City itself. Where's that? What's the name of the place? Kristen, that runs out of in Virginia City? The name, it's near the Delta, isn't it? It's not that Delta. There's somewhere, but anyway, you walk in and you pay money, and that's the beginning of one of the mine shafts you can go in and have a look at. And you can, well, you can't see anything anymore in regard to the Mackie Mansion and the Gould and Curry mine, but there's so much stuff around. Like, there's mines you can go and look in. You just got to be a little bit, in some of them you got to really, like, literally halve yourself. Like, you've got to walk like this because they're short. But once you get the Collar mine, what's that? Nadine from Sutro. Oh, say hello to Nadine for me, won't you? Yeah. Nadine gives the ghost tours at the Sutro Tunnel, does the ghosty stuff there. And that's the other thing, the ghosty stuff. But as you say, that's not the ghost. You don't need to worry about the ghosty stuff. Just go into all the saloons and go to the Silver Queen. If it's winter time, see, I like staying at the Silver Queen, but I've not stayed there when it's been very, very hot because they don't have air conditioning. But I've never been there when it's been really, really hot. So, but I know I like staying there because my friend Connie does the rooms there, so I know they're clean. So, yeah, but that's a lovely but the stairs there kill you. So, well, I'm off. I think I'll go. I think I'm going to go and get food because I've started to think of the Cider House Cafe, and I've got some steak in the fridge. I might make myself some steak and eggs and a little bit of salad. Yes, that's what I think I'll have, Enzo. Look, thanks, guys, for sticking with me today. It's been a bit of a mishmash of a show. Taylor couldn't be here, and Jess was not sure if she could get here, but Carla said she'll be here next week, so that'll be nice. And anyway, keep on keeping on and look after yourselves, and have a good weekend if that's what you're going to do, guys. And just enjoy yourself. I'm going to go and do something with my girl now because it's her birthday as well. I'll cook her some steak. I'll cook her up some steak. Thanks, Tanya. And I'm glad to see your little face. And, and if you haven't seen it, go check out the interview I did. It's the last episode before this one. The one, I'm pretty sure that some of you have seen it anyway. But if not, go check it out. And if you want a free book, email Monet and she'll give you one. I say Monet, it's Monette. Her name is spelled Monette. So for me, it's like, but it's Monette. Go check it out. All right, guys. You stay where you are, Enzo. I'll talk to you in a sec. And thank you, everybody. Thank you for your help today. And I'll see you all next week. Bye.